If you want to know how to pick the best days to go to Cedar Point, then stay tuned to this video. Because Cedar Point is known as the roller coaster capital of the world, it is for this reason that this popular theme park gets so many visitors every season. So I'm going to give you a little tool that I have in my arsenal, and probably some of you guys too, and it's called the Cedar Point Crowd Calendar. So what is the Cedar Point Crowd Calendar? The Cedar Point Crowd Calendar gives insight into what the park is like on different days. This calendar is vital for riders who want to visit Cedar Point at the best times possible, since it helps you figure out what days are the heaviest based on the crowd level. So when you have popular rides such as Millennium Force, Steel Vengeance, Maverick, all of those that could get wait times of up to an hour, you're gonna wanna take a look at this crowd calendar. Now you may be wondering, how does this crowd calendar work for your visit? The Cedar Point Crowd Calendar works by giving you the exact days you should select and what each day will be like crowd-wise, by showing you how busy the park is based on color coordination. As you can see, red indicates a high crowd level, while yellow indicates a moderate crowd level, and green indicates the low crowd level. Once you have this information, you can then decide if you want to go on a Monday versus a Friday, and let me tell you, Monday or Tuesday is probably gonna be a better choice. We'll get into that later. And then you'll also know what month is gonna be the best for you, and how long to kind of plan out your vacation, and what to just expect when you get to Cedar Point. Now your next question may be, is this crowd calendar 100% accurate? Will it help you truly pick the best days possible? And the answer is absolutely not. I mean, you can't predict times, as you can see, based on the last few years. So basically, this crowd calendar's main objective is to give you an estimate on what you can expect for that day, time, month, and year based on previous year's statistics and data. Basically, it gives you a general idea of what you can kind of expect going to Cedar Point. Now, you may be wondering, where can I find this mysterious calendar? Is it online anywhere? Of course you can find it. You can find a list of the Cedar Point calendars over at ThemeParkHipster.com. You can also go on QTimes.com to check out their crowd calendar that covers theme parks across the whole world. So now the question of the video. What are the best days to go to Cedar Point? Based on the crowd calendar and my previous trips, I would say that Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and sometimes Mondays, are the best days to go to Cedar Point. This is the time where most families are working unless they're planning a specific vacation. Now, you may also be wondering, what are the best months to visit Cedar Point? As you know, or you may not know, Cedar Point is only open seasonally, and this is usually from early May until late October. So with that information, the best months to visit Cedar Point are June. This is the time before the summer season kicks into full gear. This month is closely followed by May if you want to beat the crowd levels, and an asterisk next to October, which is the Halloween season, and it can get quite busy, but I like to put October in there because it's like my favorite time to go to Cedar Point, just to check out all of the fall decor. Not necessarily beating the crowds, just I like the fall. So now that you know how to pick the best days to go to Cedar Point, you know all about the crowd calendar, I want to give you a few tips so that you can optimize your time there and optimize your planning. Tip number 1 is to check the crowd calendar. That's obvious. This is where you want to start. It's going to let you know what days you should pick for your vacation. So start there. Tip number 2 is to check the weather. Make sure there's no holidays or school closures before you get there. So we know that summertime, many of the kids are going to be out of school, so you can't get around that. However, you can wait until the end of the summer season to book your trip. You're going to also want to avoid holidays. During the season, you have Memorial Day, you have Labor Day, you have 4th of July, and sometimes Halloween. So you may want to avoid Cedar Point on those days. Tip number 3 is to go in the morning. I always start every tips guide post, you know me. I say start early. Go in the morning, have your day planned out, get an early start. You'll be able to get some of your rides done, and then you'll be able to come back and do those rides over again. So get there early. It's going to really just help you avoid that frustration. Tip number 4 is to look at the fast lane calendar. Basically, it is a pass to skip the lines. Now, I say look at the calendar because usually if the prices are a little bit higher on the fast lane calendar, then you can expect that Cedar Point is predicting that it's going to be a busy day. So they'll jack up those prices. So that's where you can start. This leads me to tip number 5, is just to splurge on the fast pass. If you're like, hey, Nikki, I'm going to Cedar Point on a crazy busy day, I cannot avoid it, I don't know what to do, then I'm gonna say, you may have to add that fast lane to your budget. Just go ahead and splurge, but know that you wanna get it ahead of time. That way you can make your budget ready for it, because those prices can get kind of crazy on that fast lane. I mean, admission don't even get that close, but that's just my personal opinion. But if you really wanna have that epic day and you're only gonna be at the park for a certain time, this is the park that you're going to want to get that fast lane for. Tip number 6 is to ride those best rides during lunchtime. Now, when people come there with their family and their friends, or sometimes on their solo trips, they like to take their break for lunch at the same time, which is usually 12 to 1. That's your time to go back to that ride that you had to wait because the line was just way too long, and see if there's an opportunity for you to get through the line a little bit faster now. Tip number 7 is to have a plan. Do not just show up to Cedar Point without having a plan. I mean, they have 17 roller coasters, tons of rides and attractions, shows, food, places to eat that you're going to want to make sure you maximize your time. So you're going to want to have an itinerary ready for you and just have your game plan. Make a list of your must-do rides, everything you want to eat, everything you want to see. Have that list together and you'll have a great time at Cedar Point. And until next time, happy park hopping hipsters.